Hello everyone. So the first video of chapter Green Chemistry and Nanochemistry contains green chemistry, sustainable development and principles of green chemistry. So the first term of the chapter is green chemistry. Before that I wanted to tell you that chemistry is playing a very important role to improve the quality of our life. And due to this, achievement of our health and global environment is under threat. Also, due to the increase in human population and the industrial evolution, energy crisis and environmental pollution are highlighted as a major problem in the 21st century. And to minimize the problem of energy crisis and pollution, we have to adapt green chemistry. It is an approach to chemistry that aims to maximize the efficiency and minimize the hazardous effects on human health and environment. And the concept of green chemistry was coined by Paul T. Enatus. Green chemistry is the use of chemistry for pollution prevention by environmentally conscious design of chemical products and processes that reduce or eliminate the use of generation of hazardous substances. And to reduce the impact of energy crisis, pollution and the save natural resources, we need to implement the 12 principles of green chemistry which was given by Paul Enatus wherever it is possible for us. Another term is sustainable development. Green chemistry plays an important role in sustainable development. We can achieve sustainable development by achieving or you can say adopting the 12 principles of green chemistry. Sustainable development is development that meets the need of the present without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own need. Sustainable development has been continued to evolve as that of protecting the world's resources. Now let's talk about the principles of green chemistry. So there are actually 12 principles of green chemistry which we are going to learn one by one, and the first principle is prevention of waste or byproduct. So this is the first principle of green chemistry. The first principle, which is prevention of waste or byproducts, to give priority for the prevention of waste rather than cleaning up or treating waste after has been, it should be created actually. Like we used to do so many reaction, and in so many reaction we used to get the desired product along with some byproducts. We need to use the byproduct also in another reaction, or we need to use byproduct for as a chemical or for synthesizing the another compounds in another reaction. For example, to develop the zero waste technology, in short ZWT, in a chemical synthesis, waste products should be zero or minimum. It also aims that the use of waste product of one system as the raw material for the other system. For example, bottom ash of thermal power station can be used as a raw material for the cement and brick industry. Or you can say the another example, like effluent coming out from the cleansing machinery parts may be used as a coolant water in a thermal power station. This is the first principle of prevention of waste or byproduct. Another principle is atom economy. Atom economy is the measure of amount of atoms from the starting materials that are present in the useful products at the end in the chemical process. Good atom economy means most of the atoms of the reactants are incorporated in the desired products. Only small amount of unwanted byproducts are formed. Hence, the lesser problems of waste disposal we are facing. Percentage economy we can find out with the formula by formula weight of desired product upon sum of the formula weight of all the reactant used in the reaction multiplied by 100. For example, this is the reaction. I wanted to calculate the percentage economy for the reaction. I'll be taking the formula unit of butyl bromide here upon the formula weight of all the reactant involved multiplied by 100. Atom economy is coming 49.81. So with the help of percentage economy, we will get to understand is the reaction is having large waste production or less waste production. Now, the another principles are less hazardous chemical synthesis, and fourth would be designing safer chemicals. Less hazardous chemical synthesis, as its name is saying, designed chemical reaction and synthesis should be safe as possible, so that we can avoid the formation of hazardous waste from the chemical processes. For example, earlier the DDT was used as insecticide, but it is replaced by BHC, the gamma isomer, because of the side effects of DDT. Thalidomide is a morning sickness drug and it is also being replaced. Designing safer chemicals. This principle is quite similar to the previous one, to develop products that are less toxic and which require less toxic raw materials. For example, in chemical industries, workers are very much exposed to toxic environment. In order to prevent the workers from exposure to toxicity, we should think of designing the safer chemicals. For example, adipic acid is widely used in polymer industry, and benzene is the starting material for the synthesis of adipic acid. But benzene is carcinogenic, we all know that, and benzene being a volatile organic compound used to pollute air. In green chemistry, developed by Drath and Frost, adipic acid is enzymatically synthesized by glucose. Another example is in manufacture of polystyrene, CFCs, which are cause of ozone depletion, are replaced by carbon dioxide. Next is use of safer solvent and auxiliaries. Choose of safer solvent available for given step for a reaction. Minimize the total amount of solvent and auxiliary substance used, as these make up a large percentage of total waste created. For example, the main aim behind this principle is to use green solvent, for example water or supercritical carbon dioxide, in place of volatile halogenated organic solvents like dichloromethane or chloroform or carbon tetrachloride for the chemical synthesis for the other purposes. Solvent as chemicals that dissolve in solvent and form solution facilitates many reactions. Water is a safe benign solvent while dichloromethane is hazardous. Use of toxic solvent used to affect millions of workers every year and has implication for consumer and the environment as well. So many solvents are used in high volumes and many are volatile organic compounds. They used to create large amount of waste, pollution and other health impacts also. Finding safer, more sufficient alternative and removing safer altogether, one of the best way to improve the process and product. Now, design for another efficiency is the sixth principle of green chemistry, and chemical synthesis should be designed to minimize the use of energy. It is better to minimize the energy by carrying out reaction at the room temperature and pressure. For example, the biocatalyst can work at ambient conditions. Similarly, the chemical reaction refluxing condition require less energy, and improving the technology of heating system use microwave heating, etc. Now, the another principle is use of renewable feedstock. The perspective of this principle is largely toward the petrochemicals, use of chemicals which are made up of renewable sources rather than other. Next is reduced derivative or minimization of steps. A common use technique in organic synthesis is used to protecting or blocking group unnecessary derivation. For example, installation, remove or use of protecting groups should be minimized or avoid if it is possible. And this is one example. Here what we are doing, we are protecting this amino group by acetylation reaction, and then we are doing bromination to obtain para-bromoaniline. We should use such methods by which we can avoid these such step and minimize the step to obtain para-bromoaniline from aniline. Next is use of catalyst. Use of catalyst in a chemical reaction speed up its rate. The catalyst help to increase the selectivity, minimize waste and reduce reaction time and energy demand also. And the next principle is design for degradation. Design chemicals that degradable and can be designed easily. Ensure that both chemicals that are their degradation products are not toxic, bioaccumulative or environmentally persistent. See, this is household plastic chart, and where we will get to see the plastics are labeled as number 1, number 2, number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like that. We should carefully choose the plastic which should be biodegradable and not creating pollution to the environment or hazard to us. Now, the next is real-time analysis, pollution prevention. Analytical method need to be further developed to allow for real-time in-process monitoring and control prior to the formation of hazardous substances. Analytical methodology should be developed or modified so that continuous monitoring of manufacturing and processing unit is possible. And the last principle is safe chemistry for accidental prevention. We need to develop such chemical processes that are safer and there would be minimum risk of accidents. And the substance used in the chemical reaction should be selected in such a way that there would be minimize the occurrence of chemical accidents, explosions or fire and emissions also. If the chemical work with the gaseous substances, then there is a possibility of accident including explosion or relatively higher compared to the system working with a non-volatile liquid and solid substances. So this is all about the principle, and the last is the role of green chemistry. Green chemistry approaches recognizes that the earth does have natural capacity for dealing with much of the waste and pollution that society generates. It is only when the capacity exceeded that we becomes unsustainable. To promote innovative chemical technologies that reduce or eliminate the use or generation of hazardous substances in design, manufacture and use of chemical products. Green chemistry help us to reduce the capital expenditure to use to prevent pollution, and green chemistry also incorporates pollution prevention practices in the manufacture of chemicals and promotes pollution prevention and industrial ecology. It is a new way of looking the chemicals and their manufacturing process to minimize any negative environmental effects. Right now, green chemistry revolution is the beginning, and it is exciting time with the new challenges for chemists involving with the discovery, manufacture and use of the chemicals. Green chemistry helps us to protect the presence of ozone in the stratosphere, essential for the survival of life on the earth, and green chemistry is also useful the for controlling the greenhouse effect or global warming. So we should think about save environment and save earth. Thank you.